A new threat is rising in the Middle East, and it demands attention. Turkey is no longer just a regional player. It is becoming a force that seeks influence everywhere. Alongside Qatar, Ankara has extended its reach into Syria. But it doesn't stop there. Turkey's ambitions are clear. It wants to reshape the balance of power around Israel. Erdogan is shrewd, sophisticated, and dangerous. This is not speculation. It is a reality we cannot ignore. To underestimate him would be a grave mistake. Erdogan is not simply a leader to be admired or feared. He is a sovereign actor. Israel, the United States, no one fully controls him. He pursues his own agenda, and that agenda sometimes aligns with our interests, sometimes does not. Reports suggest Ankara played a role in Syrian affairs last year, but the bigger issue is independence. Turkey acts on its own terms. That independence, that unpredictability, is why it is a genuine threat to Israel and the broader region. This is not about conspiracy theories or hidden plots. It is about power, plain and simple. Great powers act to protect their interests. That's what we do. That's what Turkey is doing. The problem is perception. Our media environment is constructed to obscure reality. We are fed a version of events that is carefully controlled. Many cannot see what is plainly in front of them: Turkey's rise, Erdogan's ambition, the stakes for Israel and the United States. Media manipulation is part of the game. Stories are framed to distract, confuse, and control the narrative. Anti-Semitism, moral appeals, and outrage are tools, not explanations. What we are witnessing is classic great power competition. The truth is hidden. We are conditioned to see heroics instead of strategy, morality instead of realpolitik. Understanding this is vital. It shapes how we respond, how our leaders act, and how the region's future unfolds. Knowing the truth is perilous but necessary. Wars are raging, and the public rarely sees the full picture. Leaders lie. Agendas are hidden. The cost is human life. What happens in Syria, what Erdogan plans next, affects us all. Our role, our response must be guided by clarity, not ignorance. Stability is fragile, and understanding who the real players are, Turkey, Israel, the United States, is the first step toward confronting the risk before it's too late. So, this is Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas speaking yesterday. The question on everyone's mind: are American boots going on the ground in Iran? Cotton doesn't sugarcoat. He lays it out clearly. The president is warned of potential casualties. But the official line: extended air and naval strikes designed to cripple Iran's missile arsenal and slow its nuclear program. That's the story the White House is selling. But listen closely, there's nuance here that the media barely touches. Iran's missile capabilities are vast, more than the combined air defenses of the United States and Israel. Launchers, missiles, factories, they're all targets. Cotton emphasizes one obvious risk: aircraft could be shot down, and yes, the U.S. has assets ready to recover any pilot. But officially, there is no plan for a large-scale ground invasion, no boots on the ground, they say, and yet the language is careful, almost evasive. Large-scale forces ruled out, but small-scale. That's left intentionally vague. The Secretary of War even confirms it. It's possible in certain circumstances. Cotton is blunt. Anyone claiming you can affect regime change from the air alone is lying or naive. True change on the ground demands real boots, real risk, and young Americans willing to face death. There is no substitute. Airstrikes alone do not topple governments. Everyone in the military knows this. And yet the public is fed carefully curated language, euphemisms that sanitize real danger. Cotton doesn't hold back on the uncomfortable truth. America has always relied on ground forces for regime change. It's the reality no one wants to admit publicly. To speak it aloud is to risk outrage or panic, but ignoring it does not make it less true. Air campaigns are just the opening act. The real stakes, the lives, the soldiers, the boots on the ground remain the same. The euphemisms won't change reality. So shame on us for pretending otherwise. Shame on media and leaders for dancing around the truth. The plan has always been to get in there if needed. Young Americans in harm's way facing death are part of the equation. Cotton's point is simple: honesty matters. The public deserves clarity, not careful wording. Ground troops are the reality behind the headlines. It's time we stopped hiding from it. The point is not regime change. That's what they want you to believe. The real goal is stopping Iran's nuclear program. Some understood it months ago. Charlie Kirk understood it back in June. And yes, that was a lie. The story sold to the public wasn't the truth: Iran having nuclear weapons. Nobody wants that. But the hidden agenda: regime change. And regime change always requires ground troops. That's the part no one is telling Americans. If you're serious about toppling a government, you need boots on the ground. Airstrikes alone don't cut it. And yet, the American public is left out of the calculation. Most don't know. Many still don't realize it's even being considered. Support for this war is tiny among voters, yet the leaders of both parties cheer it on. Chuck Schumer, fervent supporter. Trump, slightly less so. MSNBC, blames the Gulf states. Qatar, barely a word about Israel. Everyone's on the same neocon page. This is disastrous for the United States. And if you think leaving the Middle East is wise, it might be. That's not how you do it. Humiliated with American dead isn't a strategy. But that is precisely the path Israel wants. America bogged down, weakened, mourning its dead. Meanwhile, Israel pivots to China. They provide technology. China realizes it needs better tech. Pakistan's last confrontation proves it. Israel moves on. India becomes a natural ally, and the U.S. is left sidelined. The consequences are stark. Gaza, children targeted, Palestinians displaced, Christians in the West Bank pushed out, replaced with newcomers from Brooklyn. The U.S. doesn't intervene. That's the plan. Americans will die along the way. The Department of War has confirmed 4 deaths already, yet the briefings are silent. Monday afternoon, no transparency, no clarity, just silence. That's the reality the media ignores. This is the truth Americans need to hear. The leaders lie, they obscure facts, euphemisms replace honesty. The public is left clueless while ground troops risk life and limb. The Middle East doesn't wait for our consent. It moves forward, reshaping alliances and strategies while Americans remain in the dark. Ignoring this reality won't make it disappear. The consequences will be measured in lives, and history will remember those who stayed silent. The truth is harsh. More Americans have died than the government admits. The numbers are unclear, but the loss is real and tragic. Young men and women sent into harm's way, sacrificed for a cause that is not their own. The administration feels the weight of these deaths, but transparency is limited. Decisions to deploy troops are never taken lightly. Commanders know the stakes, they understand the risks. Many feel ambivalence, even sorrow, for the lives placed in danger. Their service is honorable, yet the purpose is questioned. These young Americans did not die for themselves. They died for a foreign power whose leadership shows open contempt for the United States. This is not speculation. It is evident in the actions and words of those in power abroad. The lives lost were some of the finest this country has to offer. Brave men and women, trained, committed, loyal. They trusted that their mission served a just cause. Instead, they served a strategy designed without their welfare in mind. Their deaths should weigh heavily on all who approve this mission. It is not a personal attack on the commanders giving the orders. They are employees following directives. Their duty is to execute missions, sometimes with misgivings, sometimes with pride. But the policymakers who advocated for this campaign must be examined. Their attitudes toward these deaths reveal priorities that are difficult to reconcile with human decency. The loss of life appears abstract, almost transactional in the planning and justification of foreign policy. Americans should understand this distinction clearly. Grief is unavoidable. These young lives lost evoke deep sorrow, anger, and frustration. The unfairness of it is glaring. Families endure unimaginable pain. Communities mourn silently. And yet, the broader conversation often avoids responsibility. The foreign policy goals behind these deployments are rarely questioned in mainstream discourse. Instead, narratives focus on strategy, alliances, and national interest. The human cost is minimized, almost erased. It is a moral failure, not a logistical one. The contempt shown by some foreign leaders toward the United States compounds this tragedy. It is undeniable. Some leaders act in ways that disregard American lives, even American sacrifice. Their strategies rely on the willingness of this nation to intervene, to provide troops to bear the burden. Meanwhile, these foreign powers maintain positions of influence, secure in their contempt and indifferent to loss. The asymmetry is stark, and it demands reflection, not indifference. This is not an abstract debate. Every life lost is tangible. Every mother, father, spouse, and child experiences grief that cannot be quantified in policy papers. We should pause to recognize the human reality behind military calculations. To grieve is not to oppose national interest. It is to honor the individuals who serve. They do not ask for politics. They ask for clarity, honesty, and the assurance that their lives are respected and valued. Americans must demand accountability. Policymakers and advocates who support foreign campaigns must answer for the human cost. Deaths cannot be justified as collateral or unavoidable. Transparency is not optional, it is a responsibility. The public has a right to understand why troops are deployed, under what conditions, and for whose benefit. Ignoring this duty fosters cynicism, erodes trust, and dishonors the fallen. We grieve, we question, and we remember. The lives of these young Americans are not statistics. They are symbols of courage, loyalty, and sacrifice. Their deaths expose the moral complexities and failures of foreign policy. It is unfair, it is wrong, and it is a call for reflection, awareness, and vigilance. Every policy, every directive, every decision must be measured against the lives it risks. This is the least we owe those who gave everything.